Hello everyone and welcome to Janet's Craft Corner. Today we're going to make a couple of the snowman that we have in our standing snowman line. So I got a little started before you got here. Sorry, I'll catch you up, don't worry. But first of all, here's the paints you need. You need black, white, orange for the little carrot noses, red, and blue. I'm using a bright red and a navy blue. But the red and blue you can actually change to whatever colors you want. They're just the highlights. Okay. So we're going to start. I've already done the white painting. Sorry about that. But I have my two snowmen that are painted white. And then I have all my little snowflakes that are painted white. I think I have 4 snowflakes per person, per snowman. Okay, so we're going to start with our black, which is all of this stuff up here. It's our bases and it's our hat brim and it's our hats and it's our buttons. So we're going to start with it because it's the largest piece of stuff that we have to do. And like I said, this one's going to come together really quick because this is a really simple file. I love this file. Okay, so we're going to paint our hat brims and we want to come down far enough that we're into the brim area, but not so far that we're under the brim. That makes sense to you. Hopefully that does. Now I accidentally painted my whole snowman white, so I'm going to have to do probably an extra coat here of the black to cover up for that fact. And you'll notice I got a little carried away there and I got down into the other white. It's a little harder, it's a little easier to do that when you don't have that the wooden kind of barrier there. The MDF barrier that shows you kind of where your edge is. There, I got that cleaned off before it got dried. So we're okay. Be careful where I'm going here. So I'll probably have to come back and do these again to keep from having streaks in them because I've got the white paint underneath there. Normally black you don't have to do twice. You don't have to do 2 coats. But like I said, I've got the white paint underneath there and it wants to create some streaks. If you don't keep your brush really fully loaded. If you get your brush really fully loaded, that's it's not quite as bad. What's the corner there? Okay, and then all of those pieces, and since they're all pretty good size except for the buttons, and because we're using black and black doesn't go over its edges, we can just stick to the brush. We just need to watch our thicknesses so we don't get any extra thick bubble lines around our edges. Keep our strokes pretty light. Those over there aren't quite dry, so I'm going to leave that brush laying there while I go on, and I'll come back to it. Next I'm going to use my orange to do my 2 little carrots, and I don't need very much orange in here. Okay, and I'm going to use the sponge technique here, and I'm going to show you, I always try to show you each time. You take a regular makeup sponge and you cut it in quarters, and then you can use each quarter of it twice, once on each end. So I showed you there how to cut one up, but I'm actually going to use one that I've used before. I've actually used this one twice before because I used it and I trimmed my end. And then now I've used it again, and rather than trim my end this time, I'm just going to turn it around and use this other end because it's not got enough space left to do 2 more. So we'll get a little bit of paint on there. And we're going to keep ourselves light so that we keep the little grains, I guess they are, the little striations showing through. Light coat of paint and a light touch as we go. And there you can see the black lines through the carrot still clearly. So that's one of the things that the makeup sponge method does for you, is it keeps you so you can see those details, I guess, as they come out. Okay, and then we're going to do our red. And I'm also going to use the sponge technique here, just because it's easiest. With just a small group of stuff to do, there's just these 2. Those are thick enough letters I could probably get away with using a brush, but I think it's just quicker and easier to use the sponge. And you can kind of use it like a brush if you want, depending on what you're doing. See, I used it more of a brush there. I did the first layer in the spongy technique, and then the second layer I did the first layer in the kind of bouncy technique, and then the second layer in more of a brush technique to get all my little bubbles out. You can do, if you do a couple of runs at it with the bounce technique, you'll get all your bubbles out too, but the brush technique, brushing it across there, takes them out really quick. And since these are big enough pieces that I can get away with that, we'll do that because it's quicker. Like I said, this one comes together so quick and easy. And then we're going to do our blue. And for that, again, I'm going to use a sponge. I've got one here that I've already used. And yeah, you can do these in any color you want. I just make my tag and my word match. I like just straight the blue. I like a lot of blues, you know, the light blues and dark blues and the different colors of blues for the winter holidays. And then we keep the red thrown in a little bit just for some brightness. But you know, this, you can make this match your decor at home. If you have a bohemian decor, then make one of them kind of an orangey color and one of them kind of a teal color, and they're still going to match up. And they're still cute little snowmen, and it doesn't change them at all. Okay, that's basically all of our painting, except that we're going to have to go back here and put another coat on our top hats because of the fact that we painted them white to start with. And I did use the sponge technique on the snowflakes and on the face of the snowman, although I used a brush for the body of the snowman, just because it's a lot faster. I could have just turned my sponge over and kept going. I could have just used my sponge and used it as a brush. Okay, so that's all of the pieces and all of the painting. So we're ready to do assembly. First of all, for our bases, these are super quick and easy. We're just going to snap them together like that. And the rest of our pieces, that one's not quite dry. The rest of our pieces are going to pop off of here, and then we're going to start putting them on our snowman. I love just how fast these dry, because these are all dry now. That black, because, I mean, I'm at like 4 layers on those top hats right now. It's taking a little bit longer to dry, but it's still easy, easy, easy. And we're going to grab our ribbon because we need some bows on these. So we're going to start off with our bow because that kind of adjusts everything else. It's kind of a guess always as to how long my ribbon needs to be. You'd think I would write down how long the ribbons need to be for certain things, but nah. We'll just cut it off there, and that's plenty, I think. We'll give it a little bit more, just to say. And then I'm doing 2 of these, so rather than measure twice, we're going to just grab this like this and use one to measure the other. And I'm really good cheater bow maker, but I'm a really bad real bow maker. And then for some reason, if I turn it around upside down, it always does better than if I left it trying to be that side. Clip the ends of our ribbons real quick. And then we're just going to put our wording goes down towards the bottom, and our 2 buttons go on here. And then our tag goes, we're going to actually glue it right under our, right under our bow there. We may put a piece of baker's twine in there. And then our hat brim. And there's one. And there's one of them nicely assembled. So let's go ahead and get that one glued, and then we'll start on the other one. And even though my black isn't quite dry up there, I can still glue to it. So I'm going to. Did it before I put the carrot on, and I'm going to do it on the other one before I start anything, but I already started part of this. I'm going to take a Tule Art black marker, and I'm just going to fill in their eyes. The rest of it's all fine, but I want the eyes to be filled in. You don't have to, but in this case I would rather, so I'm going to. Sometimes when I have tags that have bows, they don't want to hang on the ribbon because obviously the little thing's too thin. So I'll take a piece of baker's twine, and what we're going to do is we are going to slide it underneath the bow here. There we go. Underneath our bow. Pull it around. This is probably way too long. I always cut it way too long, but in this case I went way too long. Let's cut it off a little bit. It's just hard to manipulate with. And we're going to tie the first half of a knot. Okay. And keep it on top of our knot as much as possible. There. On top of our bow knot. Okay. And then we are going to put both ends through our hole here. I have to cut my ends off because they got twisted. Baker's twine's bad about the ends expanding, and sometimes you have to trip them off to make them go through places you want them to go. So there, that should help us. And see if we can't get both ends through there. Okay, we got both of our ends through, which is nice. Okay, we're gonna again do we're gonna tie a bow up here, basically. I don't think I said it, but I use art glitter glue. That's you can get it from Amazon, and there is a link in the description. I use a variety of paints. I use Delta Cerium Coat, I use Folk Art, and I use Deco Art Americana, and honestly they're all about the same. The only reason I switch between them is for the purposes of color. Some of them have better colors in each, like Folk Art has a better orange, but Delta has a better skin tone, and Deco Art has a lot more variety. So it just kind of is you choose based on what color you want. That's the grand total of what we're doing here. And you notice that my ribbon keeps wanting to ride up, so what I'll do when I have that problem is I'm just going to drop a little bit of glue down here, and I'm going to hold my ribbon there for a second to just get it to lay down in there, and I may put some more on the actual knot too, I think, just to get it to lay down here where I want it. I may put a little bit more than a little bit, so that it doesn't keep riding up into his face. And because fabric takes longer to dry than anything else, and I don't want to sit here and hold my finger on that while it dries. Just going to set a little weight on it. This just happens to be a 2-pound weight from my kit of, I forgot his carrot nose. He can't smell yet. He's like, looks good, but I can't smell it. Let's fix that. Pop that on there. There we go. And let his bow dry. And then this one we're gonna go a little different direction on this one. We're gonna put these all together and then do the bow. I think that's easier. I just kind of go with the flow. I've got a basic. When I have my wood pieces, I know the basics of what I'm doing. But when it comes to embellishing it and having fun with it, then I kind of go with the flow. So that I can get what I really want. Because, you know, what's important is that you like it when you're done, not that you followed the directions. So I kind of go my own way with some of these as I go. Try really hard on the videos for you guys to have all the things I want out here and to have it all ready to go so that I can be organized in the way that I make my video. But that gives the impression you've got to know what you're doing here before you get started, and really you don't. You just kind of go with the flow. You take all your pieces and you say, okay, now that I know what I've got, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this. And you go from there. And you know, he doesn't come with ribbon, but I definitely recommend adding some ribbon to him. When you buy our kits, you basically only get the wood pieces and then you embellish on your own. So, you know, in this case, I embellished with a ribbon and with some baker's twine. Either one, you could have just used the baker's twine. It probably would have been okay too to just use it and not even have the ribbon underneath. Didn't think about that till just now. But this is what he looks like for today. The one that I make tomorrow, it'll probably look different. And we're going to do the same thing here that we did over there. We're going to pop some glue underneath here. And we're going to put our bag on him to make him sit. But we'll show you this one up close and personal. I always forget I don't have to turn it around for you anymore now that my husband fixed my cameras. I'll show little spots for you. There you go, up close and personal, our little snowman friend. And he's got his own little base here. Just snap him in there. And he'll stand on your shelf. You can't stand him on here and love you see, but there you go. All done and looking pretty and festive and ready to join the fun.